Tonight's Eye on Chicago Now. When you think about barbershops, haircuts, and great conversation might come to mind.
It's a place to talk about the news of the day and anything else on your mind. The legendary Coleman Brothers Barber Shop in Woodlawn, where the haircuts come with a side of camaraderie.
This was more than just a barbershop.
My brother, hey, what's going on, man? How you doing?
I would call it a spiritual place where people will go to be encouraged and feel uplifting.
Since its doors opened in 1963, Coleman Brothers Barber Shop at 68th and Stony Island has welcomed regulars.
Probably I've got my hair cut here for over 50 years.
Newbies.
2020, so 4 years.
4 years. And everyone in between. All invited to consider the shop home.
When you come in the door, you just feel the welcomeness.
And my dad was a people person. He genuinely cared for others, just as my uncle did as well.
Wheeler Coleman owns the shop now. The Coleman brothers were his dad, James, who died in 2018 at age 88, and his uncle Richard, who passed in 2016 at 81. Their history graces this wall.
Remember, they grew up in a two-stop sign town, Elba, Alabama. There was still Jim Crow, a lot of racism.
They were part of the Great Migration.
And so they became part of the Great Migration.
James went to trade school to become a barber, and Richard followed. What did it mean to them to have this shop?
Not just the art of cutting hair, but the interaction with people.
And anyone here will tell you James and Richard weren't just dads to their own kids.
I really never knew my father and didn't have any role models. Richard and James became like my role model.
Ron, Jerome, and Tommy have been coming here for decades.
I got my hair cut here, my first haircut, 60 years ago.
I learned so much by just sitting in this barbershop listening.
Clientele included the famous
Muhammad Ali, Barack Obama when he was a senator.
And the not so famous.
But they also had, you know, convicted felons and the homeless.
If needed, haircuts were free. And yes, most came with a side of advice.
To discuss family matters and how to be a dad and how to be a husband. That's impacting the community. So that's way much more than just simply getting a haircut.
And the community came out in droves last June to dedicate this street sign honoring the Coleman brothers. Richard's son Reggie says his heart was just bursting.
And I just kept saying, wow, they naming the street after my uncle and my dad. It was wonderful.
Today, other barbers man the chairs.
Lord willing.
Antonio Arthur came to the shop as a client when he was just 8 years old.
It's just really a blessing for me. It's like really a privilege to walk into some legendary shoes.
And it all began with two hardworking and very kind men.
Not just barbers, they was counselors, they was teachers.
Wheeler told us during the civil unrest in May of 2020, the barbershop was the only business on the block that wasn't impacted. He says the last thing anyone wanted to do was damage Coleman Brothers.
That says a lot about that place. It does seem like a home away from home.
Exactly.
Just warm and
it
family.
Feels like home. It feels like church. It feels like school. It feels all wrapped up in one place. They love to be there, and they've been going there for decades. Great.
Wonderful story.
And there are a lot of those kinds of shops as well around town.
Yes.
That's true, yes.